Let's come together for a social cause, creating some marvelous structure. Let's learn together, like you educators and the learners today here, for creating some momentous institutions or organizations, including structures. Where you are being seated right now, the philosopher Saint Sri Naneshwara World Peace Dome. And let's do some marvelous work which will mark itself into the history of the mankind, the humanity. Let all get the power and get empowered to do these actions in reality, and let all the jealousy along with the hatred that goes away. The fantastic Rucha that we have just listened talks about how the education should prevail and how we move from certain principles and inculcate the attributes among the learners. When we talk about the national education policy, it is really inculcating those attributes. When we say STEM, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that moves to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, ameliorate, and then the mathematics. The theme on behalf of the G20 Interfaith Summit 2023, the Shaping World Peace and Sustainable Development through Interfaith Harmony at the philosopher Saint Sri Dhaneshwar World Peace Dome, Vishwaraj Bagh, Loni Karbor, Pune, Bharat. I, Dr. Ratnadeep Joshi, extend a warm welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais, educators and learners. When we talk about the outcome-based education, the out-of-the-box to no-box education, the holistic skill-based education, what are these attributes that we intend to inculcate among the learners, and that we would be hearing from the stalwarts from the international community, the national eminence gathered here on the dais at present. I extend a warm welcome to all of you for the important session which is going to shape the future of the nation, the future of the world, along with the generations coming here would be extended with the enhanced abilities. To welcome at this auspicious occasion, I invite Honorable Registrar of Dr. Vishwanath Kharar, MIT World Peace University, Professor Ganesh Pokhle sir, for an welcoming address to the dignitaries that have arrived. Shri Ganesh Pokhle sir.
Thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you. This is indeed a great honor to stand here on occasion of G20 Interfaith Summit 2023 and giving an opening welcome address for a very wonderful concurrent session where the topic reads as Perspectives on Indian Education Policy. I welcome all of you, all the staff, faculty, students to this important concurrent session. I deeply welcome all the Honorable Vice Chancellors here on the dais, our founder president, Dr. Vishwanath Kharar sir, to be part of this concurrent session and gracing the occasion. In next 2 hours of time, we're gonna hear lot of perspectives on national education policy. It's been more than 2 years from this policy is published and is into the discussion. We have seen good number of education institutes have moved forward and gone into the implementation stage of these policies. These policies aim to bring lot of reforms to the field of education. Hence, there is lot of discussion required, lot of perspectives to be understood. And today we have all these stalwarts sitting on dais. They will give us insights and perspective on this national education policy. With this, I once again welcome you all to this occasion of G20 Interfaith Summit 2023 at the World Peace Dome. This is a unique venue where we are talking about peace, harmony. We are talking about perspectives on national education policy. We are talking about the policies which will shape the future generations. With this, I'll not take much of your time. We have a lot of stalwarts to be heard here on this policy. I once again welcome you all and request the anchors to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Professor Ganesh Pokre, sir, Registrar, MIT World Peace University. Now I invite the host, the World Peace Dome installed at the place of the MIT ADT University. The Registrar of MIT ADT University is with us. I invite Dr. Mahesh Chopade, sir, to extend the greetings and welcome to the dignitaries on the dais, as well as the dignitaries who have arrived here for G20 Forum. Dr. Mahesh Chopade, sir.
Thank you. The perspectives on Indian national education policy, as we all are well aware about the National Education Policy 2020, which has been made in place. Earlier, the policy was made in 1986. So in the gap, whatever was expected, that has been inculcated, and now at the national level, as well as at the state level, they have made various committees for the effective implementation of this policy. But we are facing many challenges, and to get the solutions for all these challenges, we are here to listen the views and thoughts of all these thought leaders. We have the Vice Chancellors and educationists. So once again, on behalf of G20 Interfaith Summit 2023, here at MIT Vishwaraj Bagh, MIT ADT University, I welcome all of you. Once again, I welcome you, and I'll request Professor Joshi to take it ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chopade, sir, for the warm welcome to our all dignitaries here. Let's take the thread ahead. Today we have all gathered here since yesterday evening about the G20 Forum with the Interfaith Forum 20, which is talking about believing, and our Honorable Karad, sir, keeps upon reminding us time and again that Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuvananti. Same thing is reiterated into various conferences and reflected through their visions. Similarly, the G20 vision talks about similar concepts and aspects. I invite Ms. Parivi to describe about the vision and concepts behind the G20 Forum. So Ms. Parivi will let us know about the concepts, the forum we are all participants of. Ms. Parivi.
Thank you so much, sir. Someone rightly said, regardless of where we live or what language we speak, a smile has the incredible power to heal. Everyone smiles in the same language, and that's what brings us all together. Namaste, delegates. On behalf of the G20 Interfaith Forum, in collaboration with Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University, and the Interfaith Alliance for Safer Communities, I, Parivi Brahmbhatt, heartily welcome you all to this magnificent World Peace Dome. The G20 Interfaith Forum, launched in 2014 during Australia's G20 presidency, brings together diverse religious communities to influence global agendas. By uniting visionary leaders, it seeks innovative solutions, fosters dialogue, and inspires positive change. This summit, held in Pune at the World Peace Dome, is a crucial opportunity to promote global peace and holistic development, considering religious perspectives for a more inclusive, peaceful, and a sustainable world. The forum brings leaders, organizations, government officials, and the civil society together to share experiences and strengthen suggestions for the upcoming G20 summit in New Delhi, taking right after this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a powerful experience as we present our theme video. It encapsulates the heart of our event and our shared values. Let its word and images inspire us all. Now, let's dive into our theme video. I request the technical team to play the video.
This session is based on perspectives on Indian national education. Through this session, we will be dealing with some of the most important questions, such as what do Indian leaders see as the major issues in national education policy? What are important focus areas for the future? And are there any traditional areas of education in India that could provide attractive educational patterns for others? This session will bring together a number of prominent Indian educational leaders to discuss their views on national education policy within India and what implications this may have for education in other parts of the world.
Thank you, technical team, for that video which depicts about the perspectives on Indian national education policy. And let's dive into understanding about what this policy really talks about, what are the takeaways that all of you, you and me, everyone, how are we going to get benefited, and how this will make the Bharat, Vishwaguru Bharat in the coming century. We all talk about 8 multiple intelligences that comes in the kinesthetic that basically we as teachers try to inculcate most among our learners. However, there are multiple scientists who have worked into. We start with the Howard Gardner, move to Montessori, move to the Pavlov, and so many. Whereas in India, we do cherish philosopher Saint Naneshwar, philosopher Saint Sri Tukaram, and so many saints and sages. Similarly, the dignitaries who have illuminated this world with their presence, the galaxy is available here on the dais today. The constellations, each one of them on the dais is like a constellation inspiring us about some depicting of the future of the learners, and they have crafted out, shaped out the future in various universities. On behalf of the G20 Interfaith Summit, we take this opportunity to honor the dignitaries, to bow to them about their work that they have extended to the humanity and particularly to the education sector. I now request Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University, Dr. Chitnis sir, to honor the guests and dignitaries today who would be illuminating us with their wisdom, words of wisdom shortly. I request Dr. Chitnis sir to felicitate Shri Shailendra Sharmaji, Principal Advisor to the Minister and the Director of Education, Government of India, New Delhi. Honorable Shri Shailendra Sharmaji, Principal Advisor to the Government of India, New Delhi, is being felicitated. The honor is at the hands of our founder, beloved Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir, accompanied by Dr. Chitnis sir and the dignitaries. Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Ankur Kulkarni sir, Vice Chancellor, Sage University, Indore, and request the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Chitnis sir, to do the honors. Professor Dr. Ankur Kulkarni sir, Vice Chancellor, Sage University. Blessings from Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir, Honorable Founder, with a small memento of this magnificent dome which has created the history in the humanity. Dr. Arun Patil sir. Okay. I request Professor V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor and Member, Somaiya University, Chairman of PERA and former UGC Chair, Honorable Dr. Karad sir, blessing Honorable Shri V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai sir, Vice Chancellor, Somaiya University. Thank you, sir, for the honors. We have Dr. Rajesh Dixit sir, Vice Chancellor of Renaissance University, Indore. I request Honorable Karad sir, Dr. Chitnis sir, to do the honors. Dr. Rajesh Dixit sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Renaissance University, Indore. Dr. Chitnis sir, accompanied by Professor Ganesh Pokre sir and Dr. Chopre sir, registrars of the universities. Thank you, sir, for the honor, and thank you, Dr. Dixit sir. Now I invite Professor Gopal Pathak sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sarla Birla University, Ranchi. Honorable Professor Gopal Pathak sir, very renowned personality. I request everyone to applaud widely because the magnificent dome should get your echo of applauding and honoring the guests. We felicitate Professor Gopal Pathak sir. I request Dr. M.D. Lawrence sir, Vice Chancellor, Dr. P.A. Inamdar University, Pune. Dr. M.D. Lawrence being honored at the hands of Dr. Chitnis sir, in presence of Professor Pokhare sir and Dr. Chopre sir. Thank you sir. Dr. Prasad Khandekar sir, our family member earlier and now the founding Vice Chancellor, DES Pune University, Pune. I request Dr. Chitnis sir to honor Dr. Prasad Khandekar sir. He is presently serving as the founding Vice Chancellor, DES Pune University. We have with us Dr. Sunil Rai sir, another family member here, Chancellor at UPES University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor to do the honors to Dr. Sunil Rai sir, Chancellor at UPES, Dehradun. Thank you sir for being here and blessing us. Now I invite Dr. Vinod Shastri sir, very innovative personality, Dean Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Bennett and Coleman University, New Delhi. Honorable Chitnis sir doing the honors along with the dignitaries, Dr. Vinod Shastri sir from Bennett and Coleman University, New Delhi. I now invite Dr. Nandakumar Nikam sir, President of Principals Forum, and request Dr. Chitnis sir along with the dignitaries to do the honors. Dr. Nikam sir, Principal, and has crafted some of the articulations for MIT World Peace University earlier. Thank you Dr. Nikam sir for being here, and we expect the same guidance from you in future also. Honorable Dr. Nikam sir being blessed by Dr. Karad sir. Now I invite Dr. Sanjay Kharat sir, Treasurer of Principal Forum, and we take this opportunity to honor Dr. Kharat sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Chitnis sir honoring Dr. Sanjay Kharat sir, Treasurer, Principal Forum, and along with that Principal at Modern College. We have with us today another famous personality, Dr. Sudhakar Jadavar sir, General Secretary of the Principal Forum as well as an educationist as well. In addition to that, he has initiated many niche area of institutions from our Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, inspired with Dr. Professor Rahul Karad sir's initiative. He has started with the young students Chhatra Sansad. Major applaud from all of us at the honors of Dr. Sudhakar Jadavar sir, General Secretary at the Principal Forum. Thank you, Dr. Chitnis sir, Professor Pokhare sir, and Dr. Chopre sir for doing the honors. Now, we have come here for understanding what this national education policy is offering to all of us. Because the learners cohort and the camaraderie should get benefited from what comes in. It is in short prescribed into 4 important attributes. The number 1, it talks about the rationalization of the institutional architecture. Number 2, in enhancing the GER, gross enrollment ratio, to 50% by 2035. Number 3, on holistic multidisciplinary education. And number 4, on regulation, the 4 pillars of national education policy. When this policy was being crafted at the central level, I was fortunate to be a part of the higher education policy framing as a subcommittee member under the Dr. Kasturi Rangan's guidance. The page number 33 to 49 particularly sticks to higher education, and many takeaways have been given. However, we have many discussions on that. Let's understand what this policy offers to us as an educator, as a learner, and how it's going to make the attributes inculcated among us. For that, I invite veteran educationist and the one who has helped into designing the NEP-based curriculum and implementation pavement for MIT World Peace University, as well as keeps on guiding at various institutions, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. R.M. Chitnis, sir, to guide and enlighten all of us on the key takeaways and aspects of National Education Policy 2020. I invite Honorable Dr. Chitnis, sir, to provide us the insights on the National Education Policy 2020. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon and namaskar. At the outset, I welcome all of you once again on behalf of revered Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir, founding president of MIRES, and he started MIT College of Engineering in 1983. He was the first one to write open article wherein very important point which he envisaged then was that how about private investment coming into education in state of Maharashtra? Because government which lacks sufficient fund and cannot open multiple engineering colleges, and look at the population of state of Maharashtra, wherein so many people want to go ahead, so many students want to pursue their career in engineering or management per se. But due to paucity of funds at government of Maharashtra level, they have to forego or withdraw their career path or pay hefty amounts and then go to nearby states like Karnataka by paying huge donations. Vasantdada Patil then invited sir, who was then professor of mechanical engineering in Pune. And he asked, if you feel there is a dire need of privatization of education in state of Maharashtra, why don't you start engineering college, sir? The immediate response was again paucity of funds. Chief Minister, visionary person, replied that if your cause is noble, Almighty helps. And with no funds, Dr. Karad sir started MIT engineering. Log judte gaye, karwa banta gaya. Today, sir has 70 plus colleges or schools, colleges affiliated to University of Pune. And very few know that MIT has 6 different universities. One is in Kothurud, MIT World Peace University. One is in Loni, where we are at the present. We have one university which is design-based in Ujjain, near Indur, from where 2 vice chancellors have come. That city of Indur, 2 vice chancellors have come. One in Meghalaya, in Shillong. One in Solapur, MIT Vishwaprayag University. And one is coming up in Offing in state of Goa. So someone who is sitting at the center stage today, don't look at the attire, but he is a profound professor of mechanical engineering, thermodynamics, who has a patent in his name in automobile engineering. He is the chancellor of 6 top universities in state of Maharashtra. Let's have a round of applause for him and this entire session. A bigger round of applause, my dear friends. And we have gathered here for G20. And why? Education policy which is confined to this particular country is being discussed here. That could be one of the question or concern in your mind. Typically, when you say G20, the agenda or the points which are deliberated or discussed are primarily on the economic issues and collaborations. But this is much further version of G20. If you look at it again, it is G20 Interfaith, which goes much beyond economic issues, but it talks about the religious connectivity or the peace and harmony among the countries or among the different sects of different religions. Again, you will ask, if it is interfaith and religious connectivity is there, when why NEP is being discussed here? And here is the deliberation which says that this G20 Interfaith talks about sustainable development goals of United Nations. There are 17 sustainable development goals of United Nations, which is like a guide or Bhagavad Gita to all the 200 countries in the world, how to behave, how not to behave, and which are the common minimum program agenda points. And among 20 comes poverty alleviation, human trafficking, women issues, concerns, sustainability development, and more than that, it is education. And this time it is access to education which is being deliberated in SDGs. And this G20 Interfaith, which takes place every year, has almost 12 different working groups. And one of the top working group is education. And my dear colleagues and dear students, and that's why this breaking or this working group of G20 Interfaith wants direct feedback about the education of tomorrow, a future of education. And future of education in India is National Education Policy 2020. And that's why in G20, which is G20 Interfaith, we are discussing education. With this brief background, let me tell you that we have very powerful panel sitting on the dais. On that side, you have vice chancellors and principals sitting. This side, you have principals and vice chancellors sitting. And in between, Dr. Karad sir is there. We have Dr. Pillai, former chairman of UGC. We have Dr. Pathak sir, Sarla Birla University's Vice Chancellor, Shage University's Vice Chancellor, Renaissance University's Vice Chancellor, UPS University's former Vice Chancellor and present Chancellor. Galaxy of people. They are sitting here. I also want, before I go ahead, thank Dr. Joshi for connecting us to G20, who would be there in this particular hall or maybe in one of the breaking sessions. Dear students, you are aware that 1948-49 first committee came, then came 1952-53 another committee, and then UGC introduced Kothari Commission 1966. And that Kothari Commission was later on had another policy, which is improved policy in 1986. And there where India stopped. Could you believe India, which is the largest populist, 140 crore people, stopped about improvisation of education policy way back in 1986. We don't want to go into reasons as such, but 1986 till almost 2018, 2019, Dr. Pillai can tell exact dates, nothing happened, but I think 16, 17, Dr. Pillai, 18th NEP first group was formalized, and then discussion started under guidance of the very eminent scientist, researcher, that is Dr. Kasturi Rangan. And then lot of vice chancellors, lot of principals deliberated upon the first draft. Then it was made open to public. And then as Government of India shares the suggestions, please give the suggestions. And these suggestions are then shared on the internet, 3,74,580 suggestions from the general public, academicians, parents and students came. And then we got in 2020 National Education Policy, which is now popularly called as Education Policy 2020. And let us see, these are some of the top things which are there in this education policy. I don't know if you can see them, but it's coming blank, so please read. The agenda is of National Education Policy as institutional restructuring, holistic and multidisciplinary education, learning environment, teacher education, vocational education, then comes technology use and integration, and then comes digital education. These were the main pillars on which NEP started looking at it. I have downloaded the policy and some of the main clauses of policy. In another 2 to 3 minutes, I will share with you and the panel, and then panel will come forward. Each one will speak for 3 to 5 minutes, and later on, they can pick up any particular topic of NEP and deliberate on that, and after that, there will be question and answer session. So the first one is about, the focus of university. The focus of university was always teaching and then research. Now focus of university is community engagement. The knowledge which you are getting from university, are you using it, my dear students, for the community engagement, or only for your career and your employment and your family? Isn't the world is your family? Isn't the bringing peace in this world is your one of the objective? Vishwa Shanti Dhruvam Dhruva is the logo of MIT World Peace University. And similar activity is done by SDGs. And that is what we are teaching in MIT World Peace University, where we say that all the SDGs are important, they should be integrated, and peace is one of the integral part of SDGs. If you open MIT WP website, you will see all the SDGs and how they are connected to our syllabus. Going ahead, supporting or mentoring other higher education institute. This is the new one. And then comes open and distance learning, which goes that if you have 3.25 and above, that is A+ grade in NAC, you can do online courses delivery. But if you are not there, then 40% of your syllabus can be taught online. Going further, look at this interesting development which is happening, that is going from STEM to STEAM. Every time science, technology, engineering. But how about liberal arts? How about the Chausashta Vidya, which are there in the Indian knowledge system? And thereby, slowly NEP started pushing Indian knowledge system. There are 5 or 6 top-level committees. But I want to share with you that Dr. Karad sir started Indian knowledge systems integration with the syllabus way back in 1996, when he had a first interfaith conference where union of science and spirituality unknown will bring peace to mankind was the basic objective. And from there, this kind of a integration of Indian knowledge with syllabus started in MIT. Of course, 2017 we became independent university, so we have freedom to integrate peace studies, and each student who takes admission in MIT World Peace University has to complete 8 credit programs. He may be doing pharmacy, he may be doing engineering, chemical, he may be doing something like commerce, arts, science, computer science, but 8 credit program is very, very essential, mandatory, includes yoga, pranayama too, and meditation too. If not, then he may not get the degree. Now, research application should be such that you get access to industry. We were doing research for PhD, but how much grants from the industry we are coming and what products or services we are offering to industry. And then comes value-based education, and value-based universal education is the co-creation or a creation of Dr. Karad sir. He says that you go to India or US, you go to Japan or Australia, the universal values are similar. During his speech, sir will be throwing light on this. And my time is limited, so I will tell you that multiple entry exit op, but for the benefit of students, it could be a 4-year degree and you want to get out after 1 year, do some job, come back in second, or leave after 3rd year and come back fourth. All such options are there, and similar options are for master program. If you do 4-year degree, your masters could be done in 4 years. Right now, I want to stress upon, because we have around 600 to 700 people sitting in this hall, and almost 250 to 60 are students here. We have not taken any kind of a feedback from the students. Probably this is the first seminar, summit or discussion or deliberation where we are talking about this kind of a feedback from students. So at least 2 or 3 students can ask questions during Q&A. Going further, we have clause 12.2, which talks about exam revamp. We are not discussing this today. Then we are going to 15.9 clause of NEP, which talks about PhD scholars. We are bypassing this. Then go to clause number 16.5, which is important. 16.5 is skill-based courses. Why every student who may not be that intelligent in typical degree should do a formal degree? Can we have vocational degrees where he get a particular area of specialization and he can make particular career in that? It could be music, singing, it could be films. Take one area, any vocation, and do that as a profession in the entire life. Then we have virtual labs making and skill-based courses. I've just finished. And then coming to last slide is digital education. Why we want university where teachers come to class and teaches to 60 students? Why not 60,000? Can we have digital walls in the university? Can we have a vertical university instead of a sprawling campus of 100+ acres? Why campus is required? I mean, both logics are correct. You should have a campus where human development takes place. And if there is a paucity of funds, campus can be smaller and it could be a digital kind of a support service we give to students. And students at his own pace, his or her own pace, can redo the lectures using digital media. So all these things are discussed in National Education Policy. Once again, on behalf of Dr. Karad sir, Rahul Karad sir, and trustees of MIRS, MIT group of institutions, I welcome you all. And I say that this is a very, very powerful panel who has come here, and more than 500-600 audience is sitting here. Let's have a deliberation after the initial remarks of all these stalwarts coming to my podium, and then we can have a question and answer sessions also. Thank you very much for listening very carefully, and let's declare that this particular session of G20 Interfaith Education is open, and this will be giving a feed for next year G20 Interfaith to the education working group. If you want to be part, some people told me that they want to be part of this education working group and they want to participate in next year, especially Dr. Lawrence, Vice Chancellor, expressed this particular. So that is possible. Next year it is going to be in Brazil, and some of us will be traveling. Why don't you join? Thank you very much. With this, I hand over to Dr. Ratnadeep Joshi sir, and he can invite now different stalwarts to this podium. They can speak around 3, 4, 5 minutes. Sure. As an opening remark, they can go back, and then you can ask some questions. Dr. Datta Dange and Dr. Pathak, they can raise some questions, and it could be like a talk show. And after that, let some people do suggestions. After that, question answers. Sure. We have roughly 2 hours to go from here. Thank you very much. This is important for your family, your would-be family, and for country. So please pay attention and give 2 long hours of your life for these important deliberations.
Thank you very much, Professor Chitnis sir. Let's applaud him for his contributions into the education sector. And we all here should be proud enough that we have got such a fantastic educational representation at the international and national level in the form of Dr. Chitnis sir, the Vice Chancellor of Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University. With the kind permission of Chairman of the session, Professor Dr. Karad sir, and instructed by the moderator of the session, Professor Chitnis sir, the session is now open for the invitees to share their views and words of wisdom on their understandings and takeaways from the national education policy. So when we talk about various approaches being inculcated, they can be constructive, collaborative, reflective, integrative, inquiry-based. So the dignitaries on the dais, we request you to guide us on the implementation policies of National Education Policy 2020, the way that we can take them away with different attributes that we inculcate with the learners, and the mechanism to implement it, which is very vital. So all of them are the stalwarts who have been administrators and educators. So we expect the mechanism to be from them, and I invite the speakers for that. So I invite Honorable Shri Shailendra Sharma sir, Principal Advisor to the Minister and Director of Education, Government of Delhi, New Delhi, to share his words of wisdom on national education policy. Shri Shailendra Sharma ji, welcome, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar, आप सभी को. Respected Professor Karnad, Dr. Chitnis, it is my privilege to share my perspective on national education policy with so many distinguished scholars on the dais and esteemed guests sitting here. Before I say something, I would like to tell that I consider myself to be privileged and proud to be working with the government, which is the only state government in India that spends nearly quarter of its budget on education. I am talking about Delhi government, which consistently over the last 8 years has been spending about 25% of its budget on education. And it is very important to share this point, because if we want to really understand national education policy, the demonstration of it is available in Delhi. How a policy looks like when it is backed by resources, Delhi is a classic example of that. In the last so many years, we in Delhi have spent considerable amount of resources and energy on augmenting school infrastructure, building capacities of school principals and teachers, linking communities with the schools, and series of curriculum reforms. And that encapsulates the spirit of national education policy, which came in 2020. And it's one of the most holistic and comprehensive policy which covers a range of subjects. What is striking about the national education policy, and we have been working on this in Delhi, is the strong emphasis given on early childhood education. We have here in this panel distinguished vice chancellors who are luminaries in the area of higher education. But this national education policy for the first time has given a lot of importance on early childhood education. It revamps the school education system so that the entire 15 years that the child is expected to spend in the school can be gainfully utilized, and the child comes out of it not only with knowledge and skills, but also with right kinds of values and attitude. And this last part is very important, because in all the previous policies, and more so in practice of the school education, we have seen Strong emphasis on building knowledge, rightly so, on introducing skills, again very important, but very little is done on building the right values. That has been the missing piece. Whereas the goal of education is to build knowledge, skills, and values. But this goal remained limited by so much emphasis on knowledge and skills only. We in Delhi, a couple of years back, introduced series of curricular reforms which we called mindset curriculum. First of that was on social emotional skills of children, which we named happiness curriculum. Because we want every child, and this is important, this is significant, and that is where the forums like interfaith consultation becomes very important. A child needs to be aware of his or her emotions to be able to engage with himself. And that is what happiness curriculum seeks to do. We introduced entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. Today's child, today's student, it is not enough to just acquire a degree and get out of the school system. You have to have a problem-solving approach, critical thinking, communications, all those skills needs to be there in the children. And another important aspect is how do you see as a human being, as a citizen of the country, as a global citizen. So all this came together and we created what is called mindset curriculum, which we implement in all schools of Delhi. And that is one important piece in the national education policy also, because it talks about holistic development of the child. So every child should get an opportunity to learn and thrive. And my last point would be that India does not need to be a Vishwa Guru. It is already a Vishwa Guru. What we need is to secure good quality education for every child in the country. That is what we should be aspiring for. Vishwa Guru to hum hain hi. अब और उससे ज़्यादा और क्या होना चाहिए? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shri Sharma sir, for that enlightenment and providing us about how this mechanism for implementation, including the schools at the Delhi government, have been worked out. And I think that role model particularly that you have described here shall definitely work upon and provide us the guidance. This is very important because what we are teaching, that becomes very vital. When I look at the audience right now, it really happens. It like, somebody comes in and I say, hello Ram, I have taught my small puppy to sing. And the Sham then says that I haven't seen it singing. And then Ram replies that I said I taught, I didn't say it has learned. Right? So this is the same case that happens in, it was just to bring few smiles to you. With that, let's invite our next speaker, Dr. Ankur Kulkarni sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sage University, Indore. And let's listen about how he is describing the implications of national education policy and the mechanism to implement, including his ideal principles. Honorable Dr. Ankur Kulkarni sir, Vice Chancellor, Sage University, Indore. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Joshi sir. I am overwhelmed as I am standing here and addressing to you. I am really thankful to the Honorable Vishwanath Kararji and Chitnis sir, Registrar, Pro Vice Chancellors, who have invited us to put our views and ideas regarding implementation of National Education Policy 2020. I have worked as a Vice Chancellor in State University, as well as currently I am a Vice Chancellor of a private university in Indore. So I am having the insight or perspective of implementing the national education policy on both the platforms. When we talk about National Education Policy 2020, the major attributes which come in our mind are barrier-free education, increasing GER. Friends, current GER is only 27.1%. If we will take the dropout at high school level, it is around 56%. And so, whatever Dr. Sharma was mentioning, then a lot of emphasis needed in primary education. Another point when we are talking about NEP implementation comes in our mind is education through our mother tongue. There are differences of opinions. I would like to share one simple my experience. 2 months ago, I was traveling in Odisha as a chairman for NAC inspection. I have inspected one campus and as I was traveling to another campus of the university. While passing, there were large, huge mountains. And I was having time, and the persons who were accompanying me informed me that in those mountains and caves, still the tribals live. I was surprised to know that. When I have taken more information as an educationist, I come to know that the Christian missionaries who came to Odisha, visited, met those tribals. They learned their language. They translated the Bible in their mother tongue and which is available there. No other book is available there other than that. Mother tongue is the only way of communication to every person. I would like to highlight the passion of those missionaries. They came from thousands of kilometers in India, in Odisha. They learned that tribal language. They have translated their Bible in that language and printed it in the book form and given them. So to educate any person, you require a lot and lot of passion. And the way of communication is only a mother tongue. So National Education Policy also emphasizes on mother tongue education. If we will talk about the other implementation of NEP, it says that graduation, undergraduate courses of 4 years. If we will see across the country, most of the regulatory bodies have principally accepted, but at very few locations it is implemented. Because majority of the students who are taking education are in arts, science, commerce, which are 3 years degrees. To convert those 3 years degrees into 4-year degrees immediately is a political problem, and at this moment, very few organizations and institutions have implemented that. Another point, as far as NEP implementation is concerned, is the skill development. If we will talk about our ancient Gurukul system, it was a Samajaposhi educational system. It was supported by the society. And in that system also, skill enhancement was a part of day-to-day life. National Education Policy endorses the same aspect of personality development. At the conclusion, I am thankful again to the organizers, as my time is about to over. I would like to express my sincere thanks to organizer for giving me an opportunity to interact with you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Ankur Kulkarni sir, Vice Chancellor Sage University, for enlightening the importance of the regional languages and vernacular implications into the education system. Here we are all the time practicing to discuss with the people, to reach to the last person, the Antyodaya that we call, so that the education reaches. This is the vital approach and takeaway from Dr. Kulkarni sir's session today. And again, it is important that along with the way Dr. Karad sir has worked upon, that the religious scripture should go to the people, that instead of people coming to certain places, we should approach them. Similar way, the education should approach people, so that, along with the enhancement into the enrollments, other activities should happen. With few examples, Dr. Kulkarni sir cited it nicely. Thank you, sir, for that advice and the information that you have shared. And I'm very sure that NEP implementing regional languages education shall foster the reach of education in India. With that, let's move ahead with our next honorable dignitary. We have Dr. Rajesh Dikshit sir, the Vice Chancellor of Renaissance University, Indore. So we are coming for understanding about the implications with the exercises being sought by the earlier speakers. I request Dr. Rajesh Dikshit sir for paving the way on implementations of National Education Policy 2020. Honorable Dr. Rajesh Dikshit sir, Vice Chancellor, Renaissance University, Indore.
Hello. आदरणीय डॉक्टर विश्वनाथ कराड़ सर, डॉक्टर चिटनीस सर, डिग्निटरीज ऑन डायस और इस वर्ल्ड पीस डोम में बैठे हुए आप सभी श्रोतागण, जैन धर्म के एक आचार्य हुए हैं, आचार्य तुलसी। आज से 40 साल पहले उन्होंने एक बड़ा सुंदर शब्द दिया था। ऋषि चूँकि युगद्रष्टा होते हैं, दूरदृष्टा होते हैं, उन्होंने कहा था नए युग को आध्यात्मिक वैज्ञानिक व्यक्तित्व की आवश्यकता होगी। उस वक्त ये टर्म नया था, लेकिन जैसे जैसे टाइम बीतता जा रहा है, हम देख रहे हैं कि हमारे समाज को, बल्कि हमारी युवा पीढ़ी को इस टर्म की सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, आध्यात्मिक वैज्ञानिक व्यक्तित्व। और ये जो स्पिरिचुअल साइंटिफिक अप्रोच है, ये वो पोंगापंथी अप्रोच नहीं है, वो विज्ञान, वो रूखा सूखा विज्ञान नहीं, वो आध्यात्मिकता, वो पोंगापंथी आध्यात्मिकता नहीं, बल्कि इनसाइड आप स्पिरिचुअल हों। आध्यात्म का मतलब ही होता है अपने साथ रहना, अपने पास रहना। और जैसा कि बुद्ध ने कहा है, अपदीपो भव, आत्मदीपो भव। अगर आप अपने साथ रहते हैं, अपने पास रहते हैं, अपने आप को पहचानते हैं, तो आप इस दुनिया को बदले न बदलें, ये जो जीवन है इसको सार्थक कर लेते हैं। और जो कि अंतिम उद्देश्य भी है किसी भी मरणशील व्यक्ति के लिए। तो अंदर से आध्यात्मिक हो और बाहर से वैज्ञानिक हों। और वैज्ञानिकता का मतलब ये है कि जो रैशनैलिटी है, जो प्राकृतिक सिद्धांत हैं, जो सर्वव्यापी सर्वभौतिक सिद्धांत हैं, उनको अपनाएं। तो ये जो नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है, जिसे बड़े जोर शोर से लागू किया जा रहा है, ये समानांतर रूप से उसी आध्यात्मिक वैज्ञानिक व्यक्तित्व की प्रतिस्थापना के लिए एक तरह से लाई हुई प्रतीत होती है। लेकिन इससे पहले कि मैं इसके सोशल इम्पैक्ट पे बात करूं, मैं एक छोटी सी कहानी आप लोगों को सुनाना चाहता हूं। एक राजा था, उसके मन में कुछ नया करने की इच्छा थी। उसने मंत्रियों से मंत्रणा की और ये डिसाइड किया कि मैं अपने राज्य में एक तालाब खुदवाऊंगा जो नीर सागर नहीं होगा, क्षीर सागर होगा। पूरी जनता को ये कहा गया कि फला फला दिन राजा चूँकि ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में इस तालाब का उद्घाटन करेंगे, आप एक एक लोटा दूध इसके अंदर डालेंगे। जनता राजा के आदेश को मानने के लिए विवश थी। एक व्यक्ति के मन में पाप जागा, उसने सोचा इतने सारे लोग दूध डालेंगे, मैं एक लोटा अगर पानी डाल दूंगा तो क्या फ़र्क पड़ेगा। वो चुपचाप से पानी डालकर आ गया। सुबह जब तालाब का उद्घाटन करने के लिए राजा पहुँचे तो उन्होंने देखा कि उस तालाब में एक बूंद भी दूध नहीं है, वो पूरा नीर सागर ही है। ये स्टोरी आपको इसलिए सुना रहा हूँ कि ये जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है ये बहुत अच्छे मंतव्य से लाई गई पॉलिसी है, लेकिन समाज इसको जब तक एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा, एम्प्लॉयर जब तक इसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा, स्कूल कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी इसको जब तक एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगी, तब तक ये पॉलिसी केवल कागज़ में रहेगी। कुछ लोग अगर ये चाहेंगे कि हम तो ट्रेडिशनल ढंग से ही पढ़ाते रहें, कुछ पेरेंट्स अगर ये चाहेंगे कि हम ट्रेडिशनल एजुकेशन दें क्योंकि अभी तुरंत से इसका फ़ायदा हमारे स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे बच्चे को मिल जाएगा, तो माफ़ कीजिए ये पॉलिसी दिवा स्वप्न बनकर रह जाएगी। कल ही मैं 2 यंग प्रोफेसर से बात कर रहा था, डॉक्टर संकेत और प्रोफेसर राजकुमार। डॉक्टर संकेत इंजीनियरिंग के स्टूडेंट हैं, लेकिन उनका ज़्यादा मन म्यूज़िक में लगता है और वो इंडिया गॉट टैलेंट तक होकर आए हैं। डॉक्टर राजकुमार मैनेजमेंट के प्रोफेसर हैं और वो साइकोलॉजी में ज़्यादा रुचि रखते हैं। तो ये जो रुचियों वाला व्यक्तित्व है हमारा, इसको अगर रुचियाँ एडॉप्ट करने को मिल जाएं, कॉलेज में अगर कोई इंजीनियर वायलिन भी बजाता हो और उसको वायलिन सब्जेक्ट मिल जाए, म्यूज़िक सब्जेक्ट मिल जाए, अगर कोई मैनेजर बहुत अच्छा चित्रकार हो और उसको चित्रकारिता का सब्जेक्ट भी मिल जाए, तो आप समझिए ये जो पीढ़ी है ये आगे जाकर सच्चे अर्थ में मानवीयता के करीब होगी। क्योंकि ऐसा कोई डॉक्टर नहीं हो सकता जो वायलिन बजाता हो तो फिर उसके बाद उसको मरीज केवल पैसे देने वाला एक व्यक्ति दिखेगा। ऐसा कोई मैनेजर नहीं हो सकता जो अगर म्यूज़िक में रुचि रखता हो तो वो केवल बेचने में रुचि रखेगा। तो अगर हम आने वाले समय को बदलना चाहते हैं, अपनी युवा पीढ़ी को बदलना चाहते हैं जो इन दिनों बहुत डिप्रेशन में जा रही है, ड्रग्स की तरफ जा रही है, शराब तो यूँ कहें कि अब 2nd दर्जे पे चली गई है, ड्रग्स इन दिनों हमारे समाज की बड़ी समस्या है। और वो समस्या इसलिए है कि हम अंदर और बाहर का समन्वय स्थापित करवाने में हमारी शिक्षा असफल हुई है। तो इससे पहले कि हम अपने स्टूडेंट्स को, अपने बच्चों को पढ़ाएं, हमारे पालकों को, हमारे टीचर्स को भी अवेयर होना होगा, उनको बदलना होगा। और मैं इस मंच के माध्यम से सरकार से भी और समाज से भी ये दरख्वास्त करना चाहता हूँ कि हम बहुत छोटी छोटी पॉलिसी की जब इतनी ज़्यादा प्रशंसा और इसका इतना प्रचार करते हैं, तो ये जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है जो पूरे समाज को बल्कि पूरी दुनिया को बदलने के लिए, और अगर विश्व गुरु जैसा कोई शब्द होता है उसकी प्रतिस्थापना के लिए आगे आने वाले भविष्य में हमारी सहायता कर सकती है, तो इसका प्रचार करें, इसका प्रसार करें। और अगर एक भी व्यक्ति इस मंच से मेरी कही हुई बात को अपने मन में ग्रहण कर लेगा तो मुझे लगेगा यहाँ पर खड़ा होना, इस समिट में आना हमारे लिए सार्थक हो जाएगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
बहुत बहुत साधुवाद सम्माननीय राजेश दीक्षित सर, आपने जो बात कही है हम सभी को अनुकरणीय है। The way that we have to move from being stable over the systems towards being resilient, because that is the only thing that can mix us about moving towards or adapting something rather than inculcating or imbibing some model as it is coming from any package which might have moved from our Bharat to the world or coming back to Bharat as a repackaging system. And that's the reason what we are moving about it. I really think of that samagachadvam samavadadvam samavo manasi janatam. That basically talks about that, let's come together, let's understand together and create something. So I think the very right perspective sir has given, that let's go away from being stable on the system and be resilient. Thank you sir. Thank you sir for that thought that has been given to us. Now I invite Professor Gopal Pathak sir, the Vice Chancellor of the Birla University, Ranchi, to express us about variations, ways of implications of NEP 2020. Over to you, Honorable Professor Gopal Pathak sir.
वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून, नमस्ते आप सभी को। ऑनरेबल प्रोफेसर विश्वनाथ कराड जी, फाउंडर चांसलर ऑफ MIT WPU, ऑनरेबल श्री राहुल कराड जी, दो ही इज़ नॉट हियर पर वो मेरे दिल में रहते हैं, ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर डॉक्टर चिटनिस, respected registrar and other officials, all honorable panelists, all respected member sitting in the audience, all the teachers, faculty members, whom I always address as the most respected member of the society because they are teachers and they create new generation. So they are the most respected persons of the society, the creator of the next generation. And dear students, other participants, staff member, it is for me, it is a profound privilege to be here. And I am grateful to Honorable Professor Vishwanath Karadji and the entire team for inviting me over here and to discuss about national education policy. Already many things have been briefed, so I'm not going to repeat all those things. But very quickly, since independence, many commissions were formed. Everybody was concerned about the upgradation of the education. But formally, the first national education policy was launched in 1968, which was shown in the slide also by Professor Chitnis. And the second one, which got amended, and it was launched in 1986. But certain objectives were not achieved, the goal were not fulfilled. And in 2020, the NEP 2020, which we are talking about, was launched under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji. The committee was formed and the chairman of the committee was Dr. Kasturi Rangan, a great scientist of the world, and many learned members over there. I won't be forgetting the name of Dr. Manjul Vargav, who is a professor of mathematics in Princeton University. And he came all the way from Princeton, stayed in India for 1 year, and he was also, his contribution cannot be forgotten. What is special in this 2020, NEP 2020? In addition to normal education, systematic education, which many speakers, they have already conveyed, our Indian ethos, values, which we had earlier. What was the strength of Nalanda University? What was the strength of Takshila University? Let us analyze. Like infrastructural facilities are in many universities, but the main strength of those universities were our Indian values, the commitment, the honesty, integrity of a teacher. Who makes the university? A teacher makes the university. Princeton University today, when we talk about, we remember Einstein. Nobody remembers who was the registrar of that university in 1922 or who was the vice chancellor. But Einstein, nobody can forget. They were the persons who made the university. So the selection of right kind of teachers, it is mentioned in NEP 2020. While selecting a teacher, we have to have a very perfect system. By somehow we are going to join teaching profession, that attitude need to be dropped, and the selection committee should also see this man or woman is perfect, the selection is perfect, who can make the next generation. So that is one important part of NEP 2020, selection of right kind of teachers. Also, the main vision, the vision of, I would again appreciate our Honorable Prime Minister, to restore the past glory of our education system. Once I mentioned Takshila or Nalanda or prehistoric also, if you go, Ram isliye the उनके चरित्र का निर्माण हुआ, उनके पास गुरु वशिष्ठ थे। गुरु संदीपनी थे तो कृष्ण का चरित्र हमारे पास आया। अर्जुन इसलिए हो पाए कि उनके पास गुरु द्रोणाचार्य थे। अगर वो गुरु शिक्षा को छोड़ के बाकी चीज़ों में विचरण करते नजर आते तो अर्जुन नहीं हो सकते थे। सो द सिलेक्शन ऑफ राइट काइंड ऑफ टीचर इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग। सेकेंडली, introduction of Sanskrit, so that is one suggestion, and yoga. So I am very proudly, I am announcing that last month only, Sarla Birla University has implemented National Education Policy 2020 completely. All our students, whether they are from engineering background or management background, one paper of Sanskrit is compulsory for them. वो एक उपनिषद के पास पहुंच सकते हैं, वेदों के पास पहुंच सकते हैं, जहां बहुत सारे हमारे रिसर्च की चीज़ें हैं। योगा को भी हमने मैंडेटरी किया है, एक पीरियड के लिए हफ्ते में 2 ही क्लास करेंगे, पर योगा का क्लास हर एक स्टूडेंट को करना होगा। टाइम इज़ लेस, सो आई वोंट बी टेकिंग मच ऑफ द टाइम, बट आई वुड द मैसेज फ्रॉम माई साइड टू एवरीवन, we have discussed enough about NEP, many seminars, many conferences we have held from last 3 years. Now this is high time to implement NEP. Challenges would be there, but we are there, and I think all the management or teachers, we can resolve it. So please go ahead and implement it. That is my humble suggestion to all of you. Thank you so much. Once again, thanking to the organizers for inviting me over here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Honorable Gopal Pathak sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, for emphasizing the importance of teachers in university education. Now I invite Dr. M.D. Lawrence sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor at Dr. P.A. Inamdar University, Pune, to enlighten us with his words of wisdom on NEP 2020. Dr. M.D. Lawrence, Vice Chancellor at P.A. Inamdar University, Pune. Over to you, sir.
Most Reverend Professor Karar sir, Dr. Ravi Chitnis, very senior Vice Chancellors, Principal Nikam, invited guests from abroad, and fellow teachers and other participants. National education policy, to my mind, immediately draws to 3 main words: national, education and policy. I need not dwell on national, but what is education? Education is supposed to bring out the best in any individual. Education is supposed to be like an ornament in prosperity and a refugee in adversity. Dr. Chitnis, in his opening remarks, said that education policy was introduced, but since then, so many people are still unemployed. Is it an ornament? Is it an instrument of prosperity? And what is a policy? Policy is a guideline for action. Today's afternoon session, the title is Perspectives of National Education Policy. The perspectives of national education policy, right from Professor Chitnis to my other panel members, they have already highlighted. I would like to only talk in one area, developing a prospective plan of action. And I would call it as the ICSGD strategy. ICSGD strategy means how do we get upon effectively implementing this national education policy. We all know everybody is holding seminars, conferences, workshops, symposiums, etc. But in many universities still, the 4-year course has not been started. Many schools have not started the implementation. So the first perspective is to see the perspective of implementing the national education policy in its right spirit. Once after implementing, the next big challenge will be the C. My strategy is ICSGD. C factor stands for, after implementing, will we sustain? Will it have a continuity? Will it have a healthy continuity? So many loopholes, so many problems, challenges are there. So will we can encounter and continue it? And it is not over. after continuity, the next strategy we should be simultaneously working on is the S strategy, the stability factor. How can we become stable in the world of education, in imparting education, in transmitting education, and in creating the national wealth of the country through terms of education by attaining stability. And the last two, it's too early to talk, but that strategy is related to growth strategy and the development strategy. I feel only happy with one salient thrust of the education policy. The thrust is on skill development. Yes, truly, I read in one of the articles in the paper, they said that education development is like holding a passport. But passport holding is not enough. Skill development is having a visa, anytime entry, anytime exist. So the thrust of skill development is very much there. But skill development, we have got the resources. There are a lot of problems and challenges to do that. Lack of funding, limited capacity, shortage of qualified researchers, lack of advanced innovation, lack of infrastructure and learning resources. Quality is a big problem. Governance, leadership, and management is another problem. Culture, work culture, student-centric approaches, learning-centric approaches, all these things are there. So, my dear friends, in very short, because I am more eager to hear about my other friends, but only I was wondering whether we can be mature enough to handle NEP, are we strong enough to handle NEP, and can we cross and implement each strategy, the implementing strategy successfully, the continuity strategy, the growth strategy, and the development strategy. Conferences like this, summits like this are the right place to think about it, and I'm sure that the summit which has brought all of us together, let me not end on a skeptical or on a pessimistic note. Let us end on a positive note. Let's hope for the future. I would like to end with a small couplet. पहाड़ों से काटकर अगर रास्ते बन सकते हैं, पत्थरों को काटकर अगर घर बन सकते हैं, अगर कोयले की खान से हीरा बन सकता है, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी से सब कुछ बन सकता है. Thank you very much.
Let's give a loud applause for Dr. Lawrence, sir. Skill-based education is the takeaway from his address today, and thank you for giving the insightful things about inculcating systems. Now I move forward to invite Honorable Dr. Prasad Khandekar, sir, the founding Vice Chancellor at DES Pune University, Pune, to share his words of wisdom on NEP 2020. Dr. Khandekar, sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Joshi. Revered Professor Vishwanath Karad, sir, dignitaries on the dais, my friends. We are 3 days away from G20 Final Summit in Delhi. This is the 10th edition and India is hosting G20. Next it will go to Brazil. After that it will go to South Africa. If we deep dive into the need why G20 was formed, we'll realize that United Nations, because of its complexities of administration and governance, could not handle very critical problems or challenge in front of Mother Earth today. So these 20 countries came together and decided to work upon solutions which are very critical for education, health, and environment. So we are talking about multi-orbit, multi-plane environment, and various stakeholders in multi-orbit, multi-plane environment are trying to solve some important problems for Mother Earth. And within G20, we have Interfaith 20, another orbit. And if I look at this kaleidoscope, we see different designs through these 3 planes, and everyone feels there are different solutions possible. I strongly believe India because of its complexity in nature, because of its 140 crore population, because of around 20 crore students studying at any point of time in different levels of education, if India can come out with a very comprehensive policy like national education policy, instead of discussing its implementation, which is a given now, many of states have started implementing national education policy, and there is no going back on implementation of national education policy. We should provide guidance to rest of the 19 countries under G20 umbrella, because if we can find out a comprehensive solution, we can also provide solutions of handling education, which is a very difficult subject, for other 19 countries. We have seen a lot of disparity among these 20 countries also, but I think India already being Vishwaguru, which was spoken by one of the speakers, and we have to lead by example. Now, in the Interfaith 20, I could hear what Catherine spoke in the morning, that the purpose of Interfaith is to provide long-term solutions based on the faith and holistic development. And therefore, it has to be a part of education. This is what I could gather from her speech in the morning. If I want to take 2 points from national education policy to 19 countries under G20, 2 important parameters. One is the multidisciplinary and holistic environment given by the education in India. And India is the only country which can talk about multidisciplinary and holistic development because we have been practicing for thousands of years in India. So we can definitely lead other countries how to implement that. And secondly is the internationalization part of it. NEP also talks about 5 pillars on which NEP is based. Out of 3, I'll talk about and I'll end my speech. It's about access to education. We still find that there are a lot of school dropouts in remote villages of India just because of the access to technology and education and access to quality teachers. Second is the affordability. We find that more and more privatization of the education has led to increased cost of education. That is also one of the major hurdles for education system implementation in India. And lastly, and most importantly, the accountability in education. At all levels, we have, if I have to use the word, we have failed miserably to bring accountability in education right from the leadership level to the teachers in the classroom and in the laboratories, and to the students and to the parents who are also a cohesive part of this entire education system. Unless and until we bring that accountability in the education system, I don't think any policy can be effectively implemented. But coming back to my wish as a small part of this entire education system, I wish India should lead this Education 20 Summit in Brazil by telling what we have done and how we can help other countries to build a comprehensive education policy. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, Dorn. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Khandekar sir, the founding Vice Chancellor at DES University, for suggesting about the roadmaps for implementation and the assurance that we are already at the stage. We now, let's move towards inviting about the words of wisdom from Professor V.N. Rajashekharan Pillai, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Somaiya University, Chairman of PERA, and as well as the former Vice Chair of UGC. Professor V.N. Rajashekharan Pillai, sir. Over to you, sir.
Most Honorable Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad, an apostle of world peace who has revolutionized higher education and technical education a few decades ago in this country. My fellow panelists, Vice Chancellor of the University, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to speak for 2-3 minutes on national education policy. National education policy is shortly called NEP 2020. The earlier policy was National Policy on Education, that is NPE 1986. When I entered into the university in 1964, there was a policy. When I entered into the university also as a teacher, there was a policy known as Kothari Commission. The first sentence of the Kothari Commission report says like this: the destiny of India is shaped in her classrooms. Yesterday was Teachers' Day. This event, interfaith event, and this activity was initiated on the Teachers' Day. September 5, Dr. Radhakrishnan's birthday. There is a saying that no society can rise above the level of its teachers. Let me wish all the teachers, everybody is a teacher here. Let me wish all the teachers the very best in their endeavors for imparting education to the society. Earlier speakers mentioned about, Vice Chancellor and earlier speakers mentioned about the various facets of national education policy: access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. I was traveling to large number of colleges in this country from 1997 onwards, when I was heading the Quality Institution National Assessment and Accreditation Council. And in this particular state, Maharashtra, the first internal quality assurance cell was part of the government was created also at that time. I have traveled far and wide. So when it comes to national education policy, lots of things have been mentioned, no doubt about it. In our country and in a diverse country like in India, national education policy is very important. A national policy is very important. But we are very diverse in nature. State education policies are equally important. And there should not be any clash between the national education policy and the state education policy. That is one thing. Because we know problems, we also know solutions. We know that if we apply these solutions, the system will improve. But when it comes to implementation of the solutions, probably we will have a lot of roadblocks. If somebody acts with courage of conviction, probably he or she may be stopped also. So the independent initiatives of institutions, the independent initiatives of the academic institutions, the state boards, all these things have to be honored when it comes to implementation of a national education policy. They are good. I am part of the national education policy implementation in the state of Maharashtra. During the last 8 months, I have traveled far and wide in the colleges in the state of Maharashtra. Of course, we have implemented in 156 colleges the 4-year degree program and all that. Forget about all these things. But I am coming back to that classrooms and teachers. Technology is coming in a big way. Technology is changing the profile of the classroom. But technology cannot teach. Only teachers can teach. That's very important. But the teacher should understand what is the appropriate technology. Teachers should understand the context of the education, context of the knowledge and skills. The multidisciplinarity is another factor which is mentioned in the education. Whatever education, in whichever education policy, in which country, all over the world from time immemorial, multidisciplinarity is part of education. The knowledge and skills which we impart in the classroom through lectures, practicals, it is the text of education, T-E-X-T, the text of education. If this text of knowledge and skills have to be applied to the society in a successful way, the context of the society has to be understood. And the context of the society varies from time to time. It varies from place to place. It's very, just half a minute more. It changes from place to place. It is very dynamic in nature. And this text-context correlation is the point which I mentioned about the diversity of this country. Unless and until we understand the context of the knowledge and skills, the real application of the knowledge and skills will not happen. And in understanding the context, that is where the knowledge of the country, knowledge of the nation, knowledge of the culture, knowledge of human civilizations all over the world, they are all coming into the context. And in order to understand the context of the knowledge and skills, that is where we impart multidisciplinarity. There can be hundreds of ways of doing such things. Let us concentrate on these things. And I'm very confident that with courage of conviction, if institutions understand the spirit of it, and then try to implement. We should not prescribe other unchangeable frameworks to any institution. This is how new knowledge emanates, new things happen. Thank you very much. And I am very glad that the interfaith dialogue, Professor Vishwanath Karad and Rahul Karad, has thought about the national education policy, and probably they will think more about discussing about the national education policy in a much more focused way in very specific elements. Thank you very much.
Let's applaud for Honorable V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai, sir. Fantastically explained on EDI, equality, diversity, and inclusivity. We assure you, sir, that on the path that you have described, as a former Vice Chairman of UGC, we shall follow at our universities and in higher education. Thank you, sir, for that advice. Now, I take the privilege to invite Honorable Dr. Sunil Rai, sir, the Chancellor at UPES University, Dehradun, to describe about and speak his mind over implementations of the national education policy, particularly in the perspective era when we are talking on open AI, ChatGPT and other aspects. I request you, sir, to guide us on various aspects. Honorable Dr. Sunil Rai, sir, Chancellor at UPES, Dehradun. Over to you, sir.
Vande Mataram. माझे गुरु, सगळ्यांचे गुरु, विश्वचे गुरु, विश्वधर्मी डॉक्टर विश्वनाथ कराड सर, सर्वप्रथम मैं आपको नमन करता हूं. Dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, faculty, colleagues, and dear students, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I would begin by expressing my sincere thanks to the entire team of the G20 Interfaith Summit brought together by the World Peace University under the able mentorship of Professor Rahul Karad sir, the Professor Chitnis, Milind Pandey, and the entire team. Many thanks to you for bringing us together here for this very important event. We have all heard about aspects of policy, about the way the policy is to be implemented and so on and so forth from the people who know it the best. I would just give some perspective on what will happen if NEP is implemented. And I'm making it quite simple, more because my young friends who are the real torch bearers of the progress of the mankind sitting here. So to express my set of 3 C's, NEP 20 implemented, the products who have gone through that education policy will actually be moving from consumption to contribution. The first set of C, move from consumption to contribution. The second aspect or the proof of NEP implementation would be they move out from competition to collaboration. Moving out from competition to collaboration, and finally, from compressedness to comprehensiveness. Now, these 3 will be the litmus test that the NEP is implemented. Towards the first one, there's nothing like GCP. There is something called GDP. There's no gross consumption product. It is gross development product. Nations, societies are measured by what they can contribute. Richness is not on consuming. And look at the West, talking about carbon credits and XYZ are the most, I would say, who are consuming the most in the world, and therefore, what we need is contributors. What we need is the sustainability in thought. So for my dear friends, if you can create a meter like how you have a Fitbit, which tells you how many steps you walked, and which tells you how healthy you are, and so on and so forth? Can you create a watch which will tell you that this C is greater than that C, which means today my contribution is greater than my consumption. If I have consumed this much of power, I have contributed or created this much of power. Now, anything that you do, whether you design systems, you design solutions, these solutions have to contribute more than what they can consume. Look at that young fellow roaming around on the moon. I'm talking of Pragyan. Pragyan is creating its own energy, creating its own solutions, finding its own solution, then it is consuming the data from the earth. So NEP implementation proof to me is when our consumption is less than our contribution. That's when NEP is successful. The next part is about, I said, more collaboration than competition. The problem is we collaborate within and we compete from people outside. Just change this. When you collaborate from people outside and compete within, when you compete from within, every time you do something, you become the better version of yourself. And therefore, can you collaborate? So an institution is great if it is contributing. Now look at the example set by our founding father, Dr. Vishwanath Karad. Look at the collaborations. The entire ecosystem has grown in every place where MIT institutions have gone. They have not just made great institutions, but they have also collaborated and built other great institutions. And the third part is about the comprehensiveness. From Sukshma to Sampurna is what is important. And that is where NEP is suggesting, and there will be a time when these youngsters may not be registering with us for degrees, they will register us only for skills. Now it is the comprehensiveness of skills which will bring solutions. Solutions don't come out of degrees. Solutions will come out of integration of multiple skills. And which is why NEP is now focusing on skills. Dr. Chitnis talked about easy entry, easy exit, was just a testimonial that we as educators realize that it is skills which are very, very important. So comprehensiveness of solutions. And it is coming from this great place. To me, the Sant Gyaneshwar Dome is the headquarters of the peace for the whole world under the guidance of Dr. Vishwanath Karad. From this headquarters of the peace of the world, next, people say next world war may, God forbid, be fought for water. Next world war will be fought, if it does, God forbid, only because there is lack of peace. What human beings need is peace. What human beings need is comprehensiveness. What I do must affect everybody else. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And that's what is the proof of NEP implementation. Jai Hind.
Wonderfully said, Honorable Dr. Sunil Rai, sir. The passion and the compassion should come together, and then only the NEP will be successful. Thank you for giving us the guidance and sharing your words of wisdom on the aspects and attributes of NEP. Now I take and honorarily invite Dr. Vinod Shastri, sir, the Dean at Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Bennett Column University, New Delhi, and request him to share his words of wisdom with the forum here gathered at G20 Summit, with understanding about the co-relationships of interfaith obligations as well as advantages. Over to you, Honorable Dr. Vinod Shastri, sir.
Revered Dr. Karad, sir, Rahul Karad, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Chitnis, and dignitaries on and off the dais, and most importantly, the center of the entire academic exercise, the students. Let me start with a story of irony. So I represent a university which focuses on entrepreneurship as much as MIT focuses on peace, sir. And so in 2016, when the university came into existence, a student from Hyderabad, the university is in Greater Noida, but a student from Hyderabad, long way away from Greater Noida, his name is Sankarsh. He chose my university simply because of the focus on entrepreneurship. And lo and behold, in 2017, he actually set up his startup. He actually registered his private limited company in 2017 within a year of joining the university. Because we supported and he also had the potential. In 2018, this boy was debarred from appearing for the semester examination. The reason being, his attendance was falling short of the UGC norms. So I personally took this student to the Vice Chancellor. I requested that he should be allowed to appear for the examination because he joined us to become an entrepreneur and his attendance is falling short because he has become an entrepreneur now. So we cannot punish him for doing what we wanted him to do all the time. But that didn't happen, and unfortunately, the boy had to actually drop out of the university. He dropped out, this was in 2018, and today his company by the name Savart, we can check it out on Google, is today worth 400 crore rupees. But he does not have a degree from my university. We lost out on a great story. We are telling this story but only unofficially because he is no more our student or he is not even an official alum. The same thing repeated. In 2017, we had another boy, again coincidentally from Hyderabad. His name is Samyak Jain. I'm deliberately telling these stories because they can be checked on Google. So same thing repeated in 2019 and this boy also dropped out. And today you won't believe this boy is settled down in Dubai and his company is worth 800 crores. And from what I hear, his company name is Instadap, by the way, and he was included in the Forbes 30 under 30 last year. This story also we lost simply because we could not compromise on the attendance norms. Now this reminds me of an article on NEP 2020, which was published in 2020 itself. So I'll just read out a couple of lines from that article. This appeared in the Tribune in August 2020. It talks about NEP execution. And author says, no doubt, the NEP is ambitious and futuristic for radical transformation of job seekers into job creators. But much of its success depends on its execution. The execution of NEP in true spirit will make the Indian youth accelerated and affianced for creating value for other people based on the knowledge acquired by them, and this will further fuel deep learning and illustrate the practical relevancy of the education system. So as much as we speak about the policy itself, I think ultimately it's going to be the implementation that's going to be the key. This also takes me back maybe a week or so when I wrote a blog post by the title Entrepreneurship in the Air. And I started by quoting my own email to my Vice Chancellor written in the year 2021. And there I had said that today I can put my hand on the heart and say that entrepreneurship is in the air at our university. While I said this, while I made this lofty claim, I had little to show for this claim other than a couple of dozen student startups. And I myself, even though I've been an entrepreneurship educator for almost 3 decades now, or more than that, I myself don't believe that number of startups is the right indicator of an entrepreneurial culture on the campus. Because the startups may happen simply because of the students themselves and not necessarily because of the university. So just about a month back, there was a LinkedIn post by one of my students. Her name is Riya Sharma, and the LinkedIn post is also available, of course, publicly. There she speaks very clearly and very loudly about her failure of a startup. And there she claims that I have had to gather a lot of courage to come out and, but today I have gathered the courage and I can say it loudly that yes, my startup failed. But what I've learned through this process of failure is something that no university could have ever taught me. This is the beauty of learning through failures. And what we have probably done over the years is we have made failure something like a sin. And I just hope that when it comes to the execution of NEP, particularly with the multiple entry and exit options that Dr. Chitnis spoke about, if we could make failure acceptable, if we could teach our students to celebrate, or not celebrate necessarily, but at least embrace their failures and learn from them something that no university could ever teach RIA. And hopefully the same goes for all the students sitting there as well. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope I have made some point here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Vinod Shastri, sir, the Dean of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Bennett Colum University, New Delhi, for giving the insights on how the multiple entries and exits could diversify the education and pave the ways for skill-based amelioration into the education system. Thanks for those insights, sir. I take the privilege to now invite Honorable Dr. Nandakumar Nikam, sir, the President of the Principal Forum. He is a principal and has guided us during the initiation of the crafting the rules and regulations for MIT WPU, and is guiding and giving the blessings. And he, as a principal, understands about the different implications of NEP 2020. We would be honored, sir, to hear from you about understanding the difficulties and how the solutions would come across them. Over to you, Dr. Nandakumar Nikam, sir.
Honorable Dr. Vishwanath Ji Karad, sir, Rahul Ji Karad, sir, who is with us now, Vice Chancellor Dr. Ravi Chitnis, all the dignitaries on the dais and up the dais. I think it becomes very difficult that if you get a number late to talk, almost all the points are covered. Now what to talk on this one? But being a grassroots worker in the field of education, I have some points to definitely put before this August gathering. Let me first thank the framers of this national education policy, who have really framed the policy right from the early child care education up to the post-graduation and the research. After Kothari Commission, this is the first commission who has planned this massive operation in the field of education. Now, no education policy can be totally new or 100% new. If we see this policy, 2020, with all the details, we can go back up to Nai Talim of Gandhiji and can come back to the commission of Sam Petrodaji. And we'll see that more than 80% points and areas are covered in all these commissions before the commission of this 2020. Then what was the reason, what was the need to bring this new policy? Now here we have to find out which were the area in which we failed to implement properly, which were already mentioned in the previous commissions. In a Radhakrishnan Commission, in the Kothari Commission, up to Sam Petroda's Commission. ECCE is not a new idea. We'll get in the at least 3 commissions, that's the ECCE was mentioned. But we couldn't get it properly. Still the problem of language formula is still there. I should mention one thing over here in the Radhakrishnan Commission. Dr. Radhakrishnan has mentioned in 1948 that there can be a federal language in the field of education, in a federal language. The federation was come to existence. And all the politicians, the then politicians, as well as the politicians later on, they didn't pay attention to this type of, this point of federal language. And now we are facing the problem. From each language, the mother tongue or the regional language or the international language, again the three language formula is coming up. So we have to find out where we failed, what were the limitations of those days, and how to overcome these limitations in this new education policy. As the same way ECCE was there was a intermediate colleges. That was an idea given by many commissions. In the same commission in 2020, it is given in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. This is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. This last 4 was never taken care of properly. If we can take this care of properly, because there only the multidisciplinary approach starts in this 4 unit, this is third unit of 4th year, and that is connecting to higher education. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, the last 4 is connecting to higher education. So that should be properly taken care of. Then the other point is that how this can be implemented. The previous speakers have already mentioned that the proper recruitment and the able teachers should be recruited properly in the field of higher education. This is necessary, as well as along with the recruitment, the teachers should be trained properly. Periodically they should be trained. There is a need of small units of training modules, and this training should be given to the teachers. At present, in the field of higher education, is a total untrained area is there. Right from a Vice Chancellor to the last person, no training is given. We only work on the experience and experiment. So the proper training should be given. And the other point is, there's a proper syllabus should be prepared. As it is a multiple exit and multiple entry, the syllabus should be properly implemented, syllabus should be properly prepared. And finally, that comes to research. The research should be lab to land. How can we take the lab research to the land? That is applied research. If this is a beneficial to the common man, then and then only people will support your education system. And unless and until the common man doesn't support the education system, this cannot be successful. Therefore, I just mentioned 3 points over here. In the last commissions where we failed, that should be assessed properly. Secondly, that the teacher should be properly recruited and trained. And third, that is the research should be taken to the field or taken to the people or the common man and for the benefits of the humanity. That is the success of this national education policy. And the real point that goes with the teachers, still the government, not only the government of Maharashtra, if we see in all over India, the teachers are not recruited. They are not trained. And whatever the policy is to be reached to the students is reached through the teachers only and not by anybody else. And therefore, I request the government as well as the policy makers and all the educationists to trace these points to make this policy successful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Nikam, sir, for bringing in foray about the difficulties, particularly teachers' education and the training, that part that comes in. Thank you for those insights and the solutions that provided from your behalf. Now I invite Dr. Sanjay Kharat, sir, the treasurer of the Principal Forum and Principal of Modern College, to guide us on the implementations and implications of National Education Policy 2020, Dr. Sanjay Kharat sir, Treasurer, Principal Forum.
Thank you. Honorable Professor Vishwanath Karad, Honorable Rahul Karad, Vice Chancellor of this university, Ravi Chitnis, all the panel members and distinguished guests. It is a great honor to have an interaction with you on this G20 Interfaith Summit. And I think I am a last speaker of this discussion. And almost 10, 15 speakers have spoke on the national education policy, so almost points have been covered. There may be a repetition of few points, but I am very happy that a national education policy is such a document. Rather, the beauty and the uniqueness of this policy is, first time, the care is taken that the student of a childhood in pre-primary school to PhD, the entire spectrum is together in framing the policy. This is the uniqueness. The second, which I personally like, is that so far as the disciplines are concerned, first time officially we are going to teach on an Indian knowledge system. We have a great history. We have a great tradition of the Indian knowledge. Rather, there are so many advanced fields, and that advanced fields and disciplines were actually taught in our India. Some of the faculties may be astronomy. A great contribution has been given by India about the knowledge of astronomy, even metallurgy. Then Indian ethos, Indian economy. And there is not a single platform in the previous education policy where officially that Indian knowledge system were taught. And I think this is a beauty of this national education policy, where an Indian knowledge system is taught at generic level and the major specific level also. It is the another part where the student is actually registering their credits into the academic bank of credit under the NAD. This is also uniqueness where a student can transfer the credit which have been accumulated into the NAD through this the ABC. As if you just have a look on the higher education system in India, there is a tremendous diversity. We have central universities, we have state universities, we have institutions like ISER, we have institutions like IITs, institutions like IIM, where a class education is given. A very limited number of students have been taught, and almost 70% of the budget is spent on the student who learn in the class system. And the another diversity of the Indian education system is a class education, where the state universities are there, private universities are there, state that deemed universities are there, and colleges are there. The aim of this NEP by 2038, that 43 colleges will be get converted into 15,000 colleges. So it seems that very shortly a number of private universities will be increased, the colleges will be clustered together, and the number will be minimized. No doubt, the multi-faculty institution has to be there, but take into consideration the diversity of the ground reality of education system, it will be really a challenge to control the number and to bring into this 15,000. Certainly, that there is another change going to happen due to NEP is the entire higher education system are going to classify into three: a research universities, a research and teaching universities, and only teaching institutions. Now, this classification may make a hierarchy into the students. So this is also a thing need to be addressed. And my friend Nikam sir talked about the research. I think the beauty of this, the NEP is a national research foundation is framed under this NEP, where a special provision of a financial assistance is made up to 50,000 crores. So it's really good. This is actually the task, because after talking the vice chancellors, management representative, I am the principal who is actually implementing. I am the person who is dealing with the stakeholder like student and parents and the teachers. And still, we have to make awareness more among the student and parents, because we are implementing NEP in our college, and the parents are saying, in autonomous colleges, there is a 4-year degree program, so better we'll go in affiliated colleges. Because they didn't understand what the 4-year degree program is. And therefore, awareness is required. And I am congratulating Vishwanath Karad sir that they have made arrangement to have independent discussions on NEP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Kharat sir, for bringing back to us monetary with ABC, the Academic Bank of Credit. And I think each one of us, an educator and learner, should do the similar aspects. Now it's time to invite to have understandings about the G20 session on understanding the NEP perspectives from the chairman, Honorable Professor Dr. Karad sir. प्रेरक सूचकश्चैव वाचको दर्शकस्तथा शिक्षको बोधकश्चैव षडेते गुरुवा स्मृता. The person who initiated about the value-based education and that to universal education, implementing most of the components of NEP 2020 before the NEP had been declared by the committee, Honorable Professor Vishwanath Karad sir, the founder and president of Dr. Vishwanath Karad MIT University. Sir, we request your blessings to the G20 summit here. Our honorable dignitaries from different countries are here to listen to your words of wisdom. Dr. Vishwanath Karad, sir.
My learned friends sitting on the dais, a great scholarly people, men of science, men of religion, men of spirituality, I feel little enriched and wiser after listening to the views and the words of wisdom. They have spoken about this very dear subject, not to you and me alone, but maybe the whole world is looking to with some hope and expectation. On the background of the chaos, confusion, the confrontations, the bloodshed, massacre, whatever words you can use, and on the background of that coronavirus, when we were all hiding behind the doors, which has made us to realize that there is an invisible force or energy which binds this entire universe together. ये scientific truth की बात है. I am reminded of my own sincere attempt in the year 1995. In the year 1996, I tried with the help and guidance of Dr. Surendra Barlinge, who was a man of mathematics, a man of Sanskrit, and a man of philosophy, but a completely a non-believer in God. And he was my teacher. He was my guide. And when I started asking him a question, whether we can organize the first parliament of science, religion and philosophy, the first world philosophers meet, was the name given. And I, for one, I don't know, but being an engineer, having some little bit of understanding of the equation like E equal to mc square by Einstein, the equations given by Schrodinger, Penrose, and many others, but I found that men of science, spirituality and philosophy coming on the stage never took place before. And Barlinge sir, being a very senior, most respected, a revered teacher of mine, I am a believer. I am personally a believer in this concept of what is the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth, or the words like consciousness. Today, the great men of science, especially, they have been telling us, all the vice chancellors, all educationists, great educationists. But the beauty of this educationist is, what I would like to comment upon is, there is a passion and fire in their belly, and a sense of commitment, courage, conviction and determination for doing something good for the society through the education system. That is the beauty. And we are trying to set up a dialogue on this platform of the G20 summit and discussing on the subject of education. We know the wider perspective of these two words. Friends, remember, thereafter, in the first time, in the year 1996, 21st of November to 30th of November, we had the fortune of organizing the first parliament, again I repeat, first parliament of science, religion, spirituality and philosophy. Shayad in the world, for the first time, the men of science, religion and spirituality came on the common stage. Before that, there was no discussion. Normally, the saffron color, the men of spirituality or religion, साधु संतों को बाहर रखा जाता था. But if you can see and have a glimpse of this very hall, I am not the doer, I am not the maker, I am an instrument. Very humbly I would like to put before you friends, उस पर कभी बात हो सकती है, लेकिन अंदर ये जो देख रहे हैं आप सारी तरफ से, मैं अपील करूंगा आप लोगों को कि आप बड़े ऑब्जर्वर हैं, एजुकेशनिस्ट है, यू आर द ट्रेनर्स, इनोवेटर्स, मैन ऑफ रिसर्च. जरा गौर से देखो कि क्या बात है भाई, ये संतों का, प्रॉफिट्स का अंदर होना, और बाहर है द साइंटिस्ट, एरिस्टोटल, सोक्रेटिस, प्लेटो, कांट, हेगेल, स्पिनोजा, मैन ऑफ फिलोसफी, द आइंस्टाइन, द न्यूटन, फैराडे, दे आर आउटसाइड. इसका तो मतलब समझिए, ऐसे कैसे हुआ भाई, अंदर झांकने की एक शक्ति है अंदर से, बड़ा सुंदर है. And then you draw the very essence. When you have come here, I appeal to you, earnestly appeal to you, कि भाई क्या है ये, क्या पर्पस क्या है इसके पीछे. And if we can really understand and agree and learn from each other, the very essence and philosophy behind this very monument, the monument, ये building बड़ी ये बात नहीं है, डोम कितना बड़ा है, उसका डायमीटर क्या है, वो छोड़ो. What is the message? What is the concept behind? And the concept has a very wonderful fundamental resolution. It's called as a अध्यात्म शास्त्र की वैज्ञानिक प्रयोगशाला बन गया है. शब्द बड़ा मजेशीर है. स्पिरिचुअली ओरिएंटेड साइंटिफिक लेबोरेटरी बन गया है. लेकिन उसके लिए आपको किसी के सामने खड़ा होकर देखना पड़ेगा. जरा रात लेट आइएगा, अकेले आओ और डोम में खड़े हो जाओ, कहाँ भी, बाहर या अंदर. एंड देन पॉसिबली ट्राई टू कॉन्वर्स with any of these statues, either Jesus Christ or Lord Krishna or any other saint from any country of the whole world. You will understand that essence and philosophy of what religion stands for. ये आत्मा क्या चीज़ है, मन क्या चीज़ है, मन की केमिस्ट्री क्या है. This was the question which I had the fortune of discussing in MIT Boston, when the discussion was, what is the chemistry of mind and the nature of the soul. the body and the brain, one aspect, which we do from engineering, medical and many other educational fields, but आत्मा के बारे में कम सोचते हैं भाई। ऐसे क्यों हुआ पता नहीं, उसकी लंबी बात हो सकती है। मैं आपको अपील करूंगा, you are great scholars, thinkers and philosophers. On this occasion, somebody said कि विश्व गुरु हम बन गए, वक्त लगेगा, इतना जल्दी नहीं हो सकता ये। उसके लिए you have to have a long awaited, जिसको बोलते हैं कि तपस्या चाहिए भाई, साधना चाहिए, अंदर झांकने की वृत्ति चाहिए। No nation or no global society, peace-loving global society, holistic global society, ऐसे नहीं बनती। उसके लिए the vagabonds and the brutes on the street cannot make it. It can be made by people like you and me sitting here in this hall with that deep passion and fire again in the belly. I need not speak much about this, so much praise has been done. I can once again assure you that this institution or this place and the places around, we have been saying we have been having a high commitment about the Alandi philosophers sent Jnaneshwara to Albert Einstein. ये जर्नी है। आप बोलेंगे पागल हो गए क्या कराड़ साहब आप? कहाँ आइंस्टाइन और कहाँ ज्ञानेश्वर? उल्टा है भाई, कहाँ ज्ञानेश्वर और कहाँ आइंस्टाइन, उल्टा है। सोच लो जरा, because each and every sentence which has been written in ज्ञानेश्वरी, कुरान हो, बाइबल हो, त्रिपिटक हो, जो भी गुरु ग्रंथ साहब हो, पढ़ो तो सही। पढ़ने के बाद बोलो ना, पढ़े बगैर बोलेंगे तो कैसा चलेगा भाई? You are a studied people, completely committed. तो क्या होता है कि इसके बारे में पढ़ाई नहीं होती है। I tell you, it is so scientific, logical and philosophical, and that's why I said now the new equation has come. Om equal to E equal to MC square. जो भी मैन ऑफ साइंस होंगे वो समझ सकते हैं। ये बातों का जिक्र है। मैं वैष्णव होने के नाते और इंजीनियर होने के नाते समझ सका। मैं सिर्फ इंजीनियर होता तो ये नहीं पता लगता, मैं सिर्फ वैष्णव होता तो भी पता नहीं लगता। लेकिन मेरे भाग्य से मैं जिस फार्मर फैमिली से आता हूँ, तो ये समझने के बाद ये बन गया भाई कैसे बना, कहाँ से पैसा आया, किसने दिया, इतना बड़ा सोच कैसे आ गई। और ये सारे ऑल द ग्रेट सेंट्स एंड सेजेस स्टैंडिंग इनसाइड आर कॉन्वर्सिंग विद ईच अदर। धर्म की बात बोलते हैं और सिखाने वाले यही है वो सदगुरु। तो मेरे ख्याल से वी हैव टू हैव अ नेटवर्क, not only of Indian vice chancellors, the chancellors, the professors, principals, but those who are sitting in the audience from all other countries of the G20 Nations Committee and the world over. Let's come little closer, understand the mind and the spirit behind, and possibly we may develop what we have been calling as a value-based universal education system. When I say universal, every country has a geography, history, their own culture, own tradition, but the time-tested values, the human values are common. The nature does not make a difference between anything of this type. So the laws of nature must run close to the rule of life of the people. And the rule of the life of people, which we make it ourselves, must run close to the rule of Mother Nature, because the nature is the common factor. This much we certainly understand. I hope, friends, I have spoken too much, but I appeal to you, let's come a little closer. Make a little bit of network. We have been gifted people, and everybody, not ours, but even the parents of the students, they hope, मेरी बेटी ऐसी बनेगी, कुलीन कन्या बनेगी, कुलीन सुपुत्र बनेगा, my India, my mother India, my society, my family. But let us say जय जगत की बात होती है, वसुदैव कुटुंबकम की बात होती है। The ultimate reality, the truth is one. We had been fortunate to start in Pune, in the World Peace University, a school of consciousness and reality. MIT, School of Consciousness and Reality, वक्त आ गया है to study those aspects. And that's the pathway which we have chosen for promoting the culture of peace in the world. And we are all, as men of education, men of research, and men of innovation, to do some contribution for the cause of well-being of the mankind. Thank you, friends.
Honorable Sir, what we can do is all the G20 delegates just touch your feet and ask for the blessings. Thank you on behalf of the G20 Interfaith Summit to Honorable Professor Dr. Karad Sir for enlightening us on his views and experiences. This is something that we call as an experiential learning and makes a pedagogical efforts. Thank you, sir, for these words of wisdom and blessings as usual, and that you keep on benediction to all of us. I now invite the convener of the G20 Interfaith Summit, Professor Dr. Milind Pandey sir, Pro Vice Chancellor of MIT University, to take about the educational pointers from the G20 perspectives. Professor Dr. Milind Pandey sir.
Thank you. So while drafting this session in this G20 Interfaith Summit, the major stress, what are those education policies of India and how the other countries can be practiced, what are the takeaways for the other countries. So I would like to request all my speakers, there are certain questions. I request Dr. Datta Dange to be there on that another podium. Dr. Dange, I request you to be on that podium, please. We'll quickly take certain questions, fast questions, and I will be requesting all the Honorable Vice Chancellors, Chancellors and speakers to answer. So, as I said, what implications this NEP in other parts of the world, that is the basic thrust while drafting this particular session in G20 Interfaith Forum. So, I will be posing the questions and I request you can please answer, and cordless mics are there. The first important question is what Indian academic leaders see as the major issues in national education policy. My question is very pinpointed. What are the major issues in national education policy? We are not talking about the implementation. In the basic draft itself, what are those challenges? Pillai sir, can I request you to take it first? And maybe if anybody would like to answer before that.
So, one of the major challenges I mentioned actually, one of the major challenges is we have, if you just look at the number of universities, number of colleges, and number of other higher education institutions which are not colleges or universities in this country, it is mind-boggling. And we have in the national education policy, it is mentioned that all institutions in the country, all higher education institutions in the country, within 10 years, there will be only 3 types of universities in this country. That is the thing. The research universities, the teaching and research universities, and the teaching universities. But that is, in order to achieve that dream, I think we have to work. I do not know how to work. If you can achieve that dream, it's very good. Because I know that there are several thousands of colleges in this country, because I have traveled. Several thousands of colleges in this country, which you have just out of 10% of the several thousand colleges in this country has only one teacher. Some of the colleges has just one teacher and all that. Just 100 students and all that. So how they all can be converted into universities? Even now, there is a distinction with the deemed universities. Nobody in the world knows what is a deemed university. This word is only in India. Somebody will ask, if you go outside the country, somebody will ask, oh, you are not a university, you are a deemed to be a university. This question is being asked. So these things also, as academics, we should bring out all these issues. All the points in higher education national policy are good, but when it comes to real implementation, all these things are happening. And then we are thinking about somebody NAC, of course I was also getting NAC. NAC will ask smart classrooms. I was just reading the story of the parrot story by Rabindranath Tagore. There is a famous story. The parrot has given training by inviting very eminent experts and education experts and all that. But the parrot did not have the freedom to get out of the cage. So ultimately the parrot says that what I want is to get out of the cage, out of the structure, and then experience knowledge. This is precisely what is happening in our education system. And probably the challenge is, probably the thing which we have to look into is, we have to strengthen our primary education system in the whole country, strengthen the primary education system. And primary health center, primary health, if you concentrate on basic education, basic primary education and basic health, the society will be automatically empowered. They will ask for education. They will ask for knowledge. They know their entitlement. This is not a revolutionary thinking on that. All over the country, maybe if you just look at this country, all over the world, any society which has concentrated on basic education, basic health, and of course literacy, all these things will come. That society has come out in a very big way. And therefore, all our attempts in the national education policy, the higher education policy should come down to the strengthening of the primary education system and school education system in the country. That is why I started saying that the destiny of even now, India is going to be shaped in the classrooms of the country.
Thank you.
Therefore, the teacher and the classrooms have to be there in plenty across the country.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other esteemed member would like to comment?
So I would...
Another aspect is regarding holistic development. Because sir has rightly pointed out that we have to focus on primary education, but at the same time, the holistic development which NEP emphasizes. So holistic development of the student, which I think the vision of our Honorable Vishwanathji Karad also, that holistic development, samagra vikas of each person should be there. Means not only the materialistic, but spiritual development, the extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities. So that is the core of this and essence of this national education policy. Thank you.
Dr. Sharma.
A very quick addition, though sir has already covered the vast part. I see leaders themselves to be an issue in the education policy. What we aspire, this education policy is wonderful. What we aspire to achieve is very clear. How we are going to achieve that, where we stand currently in a diverse country like ours, that roadmap has to be clear and it has to be backed with adequate resources. Otherwise, we still quote Kothari Commission and its recommendations. And there are many of such recommendations which we never saw the day of the light. So unless we match our intent with content, this is not going to work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My another quick question. What are the important focuses of the future? What are the important focuses of the future? Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's a very good question. Many things we have already discussed, we have observed. The main challenge is going to be for future. What is great in this NEP 2020? The target is to achieve the best of the Western world and the Eastern world. As I told you, why India, Eastern world means India I am talking about. Research and all, no doubt, on those universities, great universities, we can measure it by the number of Nobel laureates produced by other universities. Here we have to improve. Here we have to improve research, original work, and as I told you in the beginning, selection of right kind of teachers and researchers. They do the research. So the research output should be at par with those universities like Harvard, Princeton, Yale, MIT, etc., etc. But the best of the country, our country, you recall 1893 when Swami Vivekananda spoke in the parliament of the first parliament of religious leaders. What he said started with brothers and sisters of America. What we are talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is the whole strength of our Upanishad. उन्होंने वहाँ address किया. Oh, feeling I and a crowd of approximately 7,000 numbers, and they clapped for 7 minutes. They had never heard this kind of feelings. Very self-centered kind of society. So I'm very closely attached to this American university as a visiting professor. I was in Princeton also, Stanford University also. Family, they are breaking. Lonership, I have observed among all those professors I used to interact with, loneliness and all. Family structure is diminishing, and now they are bothered. Only 2 months back, I was in California, and Californian, they were talking about, in your country, this part is very good, that you care of your extended family also, and people, my relatives, they used to come and meet me. So those things, what is, that used to be our strength, and even today it is our strength. What was the strongest point with Swami Vivekananda? When he found a guru like Ramakrishna Paramhans, you will find the philosophy, in his philosophy of Vedanta, all the decisions or lectures, you will find the reflection of Vedanta, philosophy of Vedanta. And that was again the one more thing I would like to quote. If you read the philosophy of Dr. Radhakrishnan, only yesterday we celebrated his birthday as a Teacher's Day. Again, the professor of Vedanta, when he used to speak in the classroom, like the teacher, what I'm talking about, people from other departments, they also used to come to listen to his lectures, even standing because number of chairs were limited in any classroom. So that was the strength of Dr. Radhakrishnan, not only because he was teaching the philosophy of Vedanta and lifelong in his working, it got reflected. So this is the strength of this country, which Western world they are looking at us. So the amalgamation of both these strengths, if we combine it up, a good society could be formed, either this side or that side. And the world is one, the philosophy this country always believes in. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, always that is the strongest point of our Upanishad. So that should be our future, best of their. They have also many good things, commitment, their time management, any program if they have to start at 3 means 3, not even 3-1. I have attended all those classes. Here somehow slackness also you will find in many universities all. So those good things we should pick up from them. Our good things we can share with them. खिड़कियों को खुला रखिए, उपनिषद कहता है अच्छी चीजें जहाँ से आती हों आने दीजिए. ये लाइन भी शिकागो में स्वामी विवेकानंद ने कहा था. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Sunil Rai, please. Thank you.
The biggest problem, as was asked about the future, is that by 2030, 90% of the jobs that exist today will not be there. 90% of the jobs that exist today will not be there, which means they will be replaced by some other new order, new requirement. Now this problem of the future can only be, to my mind, solved by 3 aspects. One is understanding self, as Dr. Vishwanath Karatji said, consciousness is the first thing that has to be learned by the students. It is very difficult to teach consciousness. It has to be learned. The second thing is understanding of context. The understanding of context is important because for the same problem, there will be a different solution at a different place at a different time. And therefore, understanding this kind of a solutioning is the second part that we will have to create. The third aspect will be understanding of tools and technology. Same thing can be done by different kinds of tools and technology. So what we are coming to is that we can't hard bind knowledge for our students. It is a student has to be a self-explorer, has to be somebody who has to understand self, society, world, and therefore the context and therefore the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to comment or, yeah. So next and important questions I can understand, yeah. I request to please listen it carefully. Are there areas where India is particularly well placed to suggest important types of innovation in educational policy? First is innovation in educational policy, and second, what types of innovation should be encouraged? These are the two parts in the question. I repeat, well placed to suggest important types of innovation in educational policy, if they are, or what types of innovation should be encouraged?
I think can I?
Yes, please.
In this national education policy, what I precisely find innovative is to promote a traditional knowledge. And that traditional knowledge should be given in the form of a skill and where the employability can be generated. So this is really something new has been introduced.
Oh, great. Anyone else? And then I will take a last question.
Yeah, I'll just add to what was said is that India is better placed today through our ancient wisdom, Indian knowledge system, to bring that comprehensiveness of understanding in the students. Right? There had been systems which had been talking about trying to understand comprehensively of a situation. I think India is best placed through our Indian knowledge system, and that should be promoted.
Yeah. Now, the very important questions, what are the takeaways for the other countries from this NEP? The question framed like this: are there traditional areas of education in India that could provide attractive educational patterns for others? Practicing the educational patterns for the other countries, many times we spoke about the IKS, Indian knowledge system, yoga, meditation, and so many things we are learning. But specifically, would you like to suggest what are those best educational patterns those other countries can take it from our national education policy?
Just a small filler before Sir talks about. I think one of the very simple system that has been created is the Gurukul system. And in the Gurukul system, there are two aspects. One is unquestioned submission to the Guru. That unquestioned submission to the Guru is the one which takes you. And the second one is the implementation. Sankalp, sadhana, se siddhi. So from Sankalp, determination, to sadhana, which is practice, and then siddhi, which is understanding getting the distinctions. Sankalp se sadhana se siddhi.
Dr. Lawrence, you would like to speak?
No, yesterday I was in a Teachers' Day award program. So some foreigners were also felicitated. Global awards were given. So that gentleman was asked to give his feedback. He said, in America I come from America, there is no concept of Teachers' Day at all. I am going to import this idea to America with your permission. So that answers the question.
Yeah. So in conclusion, in these questions, maybe if one question last from the audience, if anyone just put your hand and I request one question. Ratnadeep Joshi, can you take a mic into the audience? We can take only one question. Maybe ladies first, we'll go to the ladies. Yeah, faculty, please quickly you ask the question to the panel.
Very pinpointed question, please.
Humbly, I want to ask on this background, what about the brain drain? Every 10 students are running in the foreign universities today.
Please repeat the question.
Every single student out of the 100 is running to the foreign universities for get the education, whether it is undergraduate, bachelor or master's education. To different countries like USA, UK, Australia,
Pillai sir would like to answer.
preferably from India.
Sunil Rai sir, first.
Amplify on it. But I think what we need to inculcate as teachers is esteem, Atma Samman. When you inculcate that esteem, there is no need for people to run away. There are enough opportunities. Now we are the 5th largest economy. Next 5 years going to be the 3rd largest economy. The world will come to us, we will not go to the world. ये चेतना जगानी है हमको हमारे बच्चों में, because this is the best youth in the world and we have to tell them so.
There is nothing wrong in going our students going to the foreign countries and getting further educated or further knowledge. They should go, that is my feeling. But we should have a mechanism to bring them back. Because now the world is open, world is open. There is not, in future we will see a lot of openings happening across the world. So we should definitely create capabilities in our education system. Let the students go anywhere and teachers also go anywhere in the world, but there should be a mechanism to bring them back, maybe after a few years. And this country has that capability. Probably that is the policy we have to adapt. And we have new universities, new institutions, and large number of people are ready to come back to India, maybe at the middle age, 40, 35, 42, between 40 and 50. If you just go to foreign countries, large number of Indians who are trained are there. They would be definitely happy to come back to India, and therefore we should we should promote our students going and getting exposed to a new thing, and then we should create a mechanism for them to come back. And that is very important. And of course, the new education policy also says that the professor of practice, sharing of content from foreign universities. So I don't see anything wrong in it, because we have a great population. Let our students go and excel in other universities also. Ultimately, the name will be ours.
Yes, very quickly and direct last question for this session.
So my quick question will be, like as the time change, the policy need to upgrade in a basic draft or maybe in implementation. So how our policy is like flexible for the amendments, and how the role of think tanks while the implementation of the policy will be take place.
So thanks for asking this question. I was having an interaction with Finnish delegation, and they came up with a very interesting concept. They said in our country we don't create curriculum, we don't create policy, we create practice manual. So as a result, this policy which has created a framework, how we are going to implement and keep abreast with the times and the challenges, that's the road we will have to take, and maybe every few years look inward how far we have achieved and what needs to be done. That's the kind of roadmap that would be required.
Yeah, thank you so much, and a big round of applause for this wonderful discussion and very, very enriching discussion. Let me put it in this way. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he said 5 T's are required to build the brand India. And he said, talent, tradition, trade, tourism, and technology. Further, he said, IT plus IT is equal to IT. Innovative technologies plus Indian talent is equal to India tomorrow. We spoke about the India power, India to be the Vishwaguru, but for these innovative technologies has to be imbibed into the mindset of the students. That is the most important. And when we spoke about the Indian knowledge system, Swami Vivekananda very categorically said man making and character building is the purpose of education, and expansion of mind and expansion of the heart is the motto of education. This is what he said, and most important, he said we want that education, what educational policy. We want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, intellect is expanded, by which one can stand on one's own feet, and that is what nothing but the stand-up India and start-up India. So I would like to conclude my this. He said 4 A's again important: spirit, consciousness. First is spirit, strength, skill, and stamina, and that's why this yoga, meditation, and all things are required. So thank you so much for enlightening all of us through this very, very vibrant panel discussion on India's perspective on national education policy. Thank you so much. Dr. Dange, over to you.
Hello. Very good evening to all. Do not be worried, it's like not another half an hour of question and answer session coming from this part of the dais. I was Dean Academics during implementation of NEP 2020 at MIT WPU. So I was asked to prepare some questions from implementation point of view, which I am not going to ask, okay? Because when I heard Karad sir's speech, he raised very important questions, and most of the questions he answered himself. So Karad sir's question was the end of question and answer session for me. I am just ending this question and answer session on a very proud note, with your permission. When it comes to NEP 2020, two first come to credit of MIT WPU. As all the panelists know, most of our directives came in May 23, April 23, and June 23. They were directives of state government for NEP implementation. To our credit, and all thanks to dynamic leadership of our Rahul Karad sir, Executive President, our academic ordinance with 99% compliance NEP was passed in December 2022, not 23. So that is the first coming to MIT. And thanks to Karad sir, NEP was implemented even before it was announced in 2020. So that is another great spirit. We have been implementing it since MIT was founded. So all peace and yoga courses, mixing of, union of religion and science. While listening to Karad sir, I felt that, sir, we should study Dhaneshwaran and Tukaram from NEP 2020 point of view and how they saw NEP 2020 long back. Just one small instance. Now they are talking about language, instruction in mother tongue. Dhaneshwari was the first exercise of knowledge in mother tongue. Was it not the case? It's the first exercise. Not only that, Karad sir keeps quoting from Dhaneshwari and Tukaram about how engineering activities can also be done for the human welfare. We will not dwell on that over here. I will end this question and answer session over here and hand it over to the coordinator for proceedings. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dange sir, for the enlightenment and shaping up the NEP-based curriculum at MIT World Peace University, and I'm sure we are the role models. MIT, since its inception, has been the role model for all of us, and under this G20 summit, I am sure that the leadership continues. Here, I express my heartiest and heartfelt thanks to the organizers, especially the Cole Juram sir, for shouldering the responsibility and the confidence conferred over the MIT institutions, Dr. Karad sir, Professor Rahul Karad sir, and the teams of convener, that they can hold this baton, and I'm sure that they would be very delighted to see that the galaxy of people coming here, discussing, deliberating, and the Navneet churning coming out of that would go to that G20 nations. It's a truly humongous institutional program under the G20 banner, and we are thankful to the Cole Duram sir and his complete team, all the international delegates, some of them are present here. Heartfelt thanks from Bharat to you for giving this opportunity for shouldering this G20 summit. I'm thankful to Professor Dr. Karad sir for taking the championship and baton ahead. Professor Rahul Karad sir, the chief convener, has completely facilitated the event and articulated each program. And I'm very sure that when a top management works on some plan, the plan really works. I think let's applaud for both of them for crafting out the niche ways and giving the insights. So there is absolutely no session which comes out from any of the guidelines which have been given. Thanks to them, Honorable Convener, Professor Chitnis sir, Professor Pandey sir, and the team is available here. All our Honorable Registrar sir, and the faculty members who worked day and night for the sessions here to make them successful, and honorable dignitaries present here for enlightening us on the perspectives of the national education policy, particularly the media. I hope all of you are following and have been visiting the media pages. Right? If not, please visit the YouTube channel. We are telecasting this live. This is the G20 Interfaith Summit, my dear fellows. Very fantastic opportunity shouldered to us. Let us cherish it, those memories. Let us make it very memorable for all of us. So thank you. Thanks to the media team for giving wide coverage, electronic and print media. And I'm sure that you will continue leveraging that love for the next day also, along with today's coverage. Tomorrow we will be meeting at 9 a.m. where there would be the plenary sessions, and Honorable Kol Juram sir, who would be giving us the recaps of the session, and welcome for tomorrow's different sessions, which would be talking on the 4 C's: COVID, climate, conflict, and children. So I extend warm welcome on behalf of the G20 Interfaith Summit to all of you. The same fashion, please do be here at 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow, so that we understand from the flag championships, understanding on the different aspects of the Interfaith Summit. Thank you for being here. Let's applaud for everyone, you and me, for the patience and perseverance exhibited. And I request the dais to be at the front one, where we will have a photograph. I request Honorable Executive President, Professor Rahul Karad sir, to join. Honorable Shri Chodia sir is also present here. I request him, all the international delegates, please join all of us here